There's a big debate brewing with parents and school districts across the valley and the state. It's over sex education and the push by some lawmakers for comprehensive lessons on gender fluidity in our public schools. So it begs a serious debate. Is sex ed too graphic for our kids in elementary school? We're going to bring back our panel, Philip Teresi, Larry Powell, Oliver Baines. Guys, I do want to start with this, and obviously being a former educator, Larry, I'm going to start with you. And this is according to the state here. Sexual orientation and references to families with lesbian and gay parents can already be referenced in classrooms to children as young as 5. How close is this to being too graphic, too soon, too much?
I think it's too early. I come from a very simple perspective. The parent should be in charge of what kids are taught, especially when they're young, about sex ed, all the things associated with sex ed. The goal behind what they're doing here is to reduce violence and bullying. Well, we can do that in a variety of ways. It doesn't have to be done through the sex ed curriculum. It can be done through families, it can be done through churches. For example, I don't want any kid, when I was superintendent, I don't want any kid to be bullied. I don't think most people do. I think most people are in favor of treating everybody correctly. But to use a curriculum to make that happen and then to sort of make it a demand, even though it isn't, because parents can opt out at this point. And any parent that comes to me, I encourage them to take a close look at it. If it goes against what you believe and your values, then opt your kid out for an alternative assignment. But continue to teach them, don't bully other kids. Be kind. If you're being bullied, talk about those kind of things.
Philip, I know you have kids, so obviously this is an issue close to the heart. I have a 6-year-old. I know he's in kindergarten. I'm just thinking, uh-oh, what's going to happen in the years to come? So what do you say to this?
Well, I've got an 11-year-old daughter. I've got a 20-year-old son, and I'm the child of a gay parent. I grew up in the Bay Area in the 80s and the 90s, and my dad came out of the closet when I was very young. And I think that you've got to live in the world. And the fact is that these kids are going to encounter diversity that they didn't have at home and at church when they get to school, by nature of being public schools and mixed institutions. I don't know that a 6-year-old, I don't know that your son or my daughter necessarily needs to have a comprehensive sexual education that early on. Simply talking about body development, simply talking about the fact that there are a variety of family units, a variety of configurations. I think that's adequate until you get into the developmental stage. Once you get there, parents have to pay attention. All the energy that goes into standing out on the street corner and screaming that this is horrible would have been much better spent going to a school board meeting and learning what your kids were going to be taught, or sitting down and talking with the teacher about what your comfort level is.
Yeah, and Oliver, I'll come to you, because there's some school districts, you know, obviously they can determine what the curriculum will be, and everybody's kind of different, and it really is almost open to how the teachers do it. But should there be a more stricter policy statewide, and not so much each district gets to do what they want?
You know, actually, I do agree with the latter, that the districts should have an opportunity to shape and form the curriculum the way that they see fit. Okay. You know, and I really actually agree with the panel in a lot of ways with the perspective. One, we do have to live in the real world, right? Right. So our children need to understand that this is America. It's a diverse place. At the same time, I like the fact that parents can opt out if they're uncomfortable with the curriculum, with something like this. But I think school districts should have the opportunity to decide how their curriculums are developed. Larry, I want you to punctuate this. We'll get to our next topic real quick, because what you see here in the districts in the Valley, are they doing the right thing?
I think they are, and most of them want to do things that make it an inclusive curriculum for all the families that are there. They just don't want to be pushed to the edge all the time. And I think that's where the battle is. The battle is at the edge. The battle is not with what's right or wrong or accepting people. It's pushing the agenda so far down in age that then it becomes inappropriate. And that's why you see a lot of parents opt out. And that's an appropriate thing to do. And fortunately, the law allows us to opt out of those kinds of curricular pieces.
I do want to get to, real quick, switching gears now to Congressman T.J. Cox. He was in a Fresno Bee article earlier this week where that Fresno Bee article said that he failed to disclose business interests and his ties to a Canadian company. You know, all these financial documents, one could say, Oliver, that You know, he's a freshman running for Congress, so to speak, and he wasn't used to all these financial documents. But does he get a pass here, or did he violate something here, you think?
You know, I did get an opportunity to review that article, and again, from my perspective, and this may not be that popular, me coming freshly off being elected, this is, to me, almost a distraction from what's really important right now, what's happening in our country. I think it probably was an oversight. You know, T.J. Cox, Congressman Cox, has a number of business interests to extricate himself from that. I understand from the articles reporting he's doing that. So I think it was probably more an oversight. But at the end of the day, we really need to be, you know, realizing what is he doing in Congress, how is he representing our valley.
And I'll pose this question to you, and then we'll have one last topic. Philip, do you think if this did come out before the election, Cox loses to Valadao?
No, I don't think so. Well, I think that the story as it's written would have been very damaging, because the fact that T.J. Cox can't extricate himself from decades of business interest overnight is absolutely true. You're going into a job that is all about detail, and you somehow overlooked the details of how you've made your living for the past 15 years when you were signing up for a job that you went out and campaigned hard for. I think it's a weak sauce excuse for somebody who wasn't dotting their I's and crossing their T's. And I think that the story that we read today would have been damaging in the election, and it should have been, because your job is to make sure that you're looking at the details. That's what we put you in office for.
Well, I'm heading to Washington next week to talk to T.J. Cox exactly about this. Larry, I want to finish up with this real quick.
Sure.
Assemblyman Joaquin Arambula, it looks like he's headed to a jury trial on the 23rd of this month. They pushed that pretrial hearing. There's been so much talk that this has been politicized. Pushing back a pretrial hearing, I don't want you to play lawyer for me, but if you're getting ready for a jury trial, how are you looking at this?
Well, I'm not happy with where this is to begin with, because I've had so many kids that have been hurt and nothing ever happened. When we pushed as schools, we pushed for something to happen. So you have the dual thing that happens: too much celebrity, too little celebrity, mistreatment. And so it's hard to get a really fair case on this, and I personally think that this one should never have made it to a trial basis at all. It shouldn't go there. There's a lot of things that can be done with families, which I've done my entire career, to help keep families together, not make something a big splash in the media. We did it behind the scenes. We did things to make sure the kids were protected, the parents were protected, and that could have happened here, and I think it should have.
It's just not the world we live in today, unfortunately.
And that's the thing that I didn't like about it.
All right, guys, we got to end it there. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Lots to talk about still. All right, we'll be right back. Sunday Morning Matters.